Happy Hump Day. Welcome to Cheer Chat. Grab your rose. I have mine, and I'm ready to chat with you guys about my happy launch day, you guys. It's been over a year, and I launched an episode today. Who watched it? Who listened to it? Anybody yet? I did it earlier today. I had the sheer joy of talking to Savannah Dunaway, you guys, who can I just pause there? So she's a third year veteran with the Portland Blazer Dancers. I got to see her in action just last month, and we go a little bit further back than that. I have been wanting to talk to her as part of the podcast for a very, very long time, and I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. It's called Break My Soul. I'm not over Beyonce. I don't know about you guys, but watching the movie definitely still has her very much in my mind with the whole Renaissance vibes. I mean, Savannah and I even like were talking about that. She has a whole like what does she call it? The Beehive Fund. I don't know. She even has like money she sets aside so that she can go to her concerts. There's so many little nuggets in this episode, you guys. You have to listen and show love for Savannah in the comments. Let us generate the conversation about just her journey because there was just so much that I think we can all gather from the episode. So I'm excited to have you guys listen and learn more about her. Pause while I just adjust for the cause. Okay. I'm excited. I can't even underscore how good it feels to come back to having conversations by way of episode interviews with people that you guys love and admire in this space. It got a little challenging at times. I haven't had an episode since October, like I said, not even last year, the year before, October 2022. But it's something that I'm going to just have low pressure on myself. But anytime I get a chance to interview someone, I'm going to just roll with it and release episodes as I can. And the very first one is out today, y'all. So I'm going to drink to that. How about that? Okay. I hope you guys are having a great week. It's been crazy, and I'm just going to act like my life is together when it's not. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. Sorry to go live so late, but we got some stuff to talk about. I let you guys know what was on my mind. I didn't hear too much from you guys in terms of additional comments to add, so I'm just going to just get to going on what I got to say. Join me in the chat. Let me know if there's something on your mind, and I'll address it. But for right now, after I've done the plug, listen to Break My Soul, the next topic is the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. I don't know if you guys have all been watching. It's definitely been exciting football. And, unsurprisingly, there's some little headlines involving NFL cheerleaders in connection with all this. I thought it was all about Taylor Swift all the time. But guess what? We had something that broke during the Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers game. I put it in the chat so that you guys can read up an article that Paige Skinner. If you guys have been following the podcast for a while, you'll know that Paige Skinner is one of the few journalists that will write about this space and actually get it and know the dynamics and kind of finds it important enough to cover, right? She picked up on this TikTok video that was posted by Darian Lassiter, I believe her last name is. She's a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And she posted a TikTok after the Dallas Cowboys Packers game that after scoring a touchdown, these Packers players, and I wish she was calling out names, but basically, you score, you do whatever in the end zone, and then you run off to the side and do whatever. But apparently these Packers players were actually approaching the cheerleaders and yelling in their face. Like, I saw the video and she was like basically like this close. Like, they were extremely disrespectful. And like apparently like nothing was done. So I didn't see this happen. I don't even think I was like in front of made me want to go back and watch the whole entire game, but I'm just gonna say we all know what it's like on the sidelines. You are minding your business, as Darian put it, but like you have to be in like you're constantly a professional in these environments at a game. You know, your hands are on your hips, you're doing your thing, and to have somebody approach you in that kind of intimidating way with all of that emotion, like yes, you're hyped and everything, but just like it's disrespectful to yell in someone's face. And I don't know what they said to these women. I'm just so pissed for them because I will say, in my little heyday, um, but I'm a shit talker. But I like I have to watch myself on the sidelines because I get very much into the game and I say things and I have to be mindful of who's around and who can hear. I can't react like I do at home when I'm watching a game. But there are times where there was one time, I won't say there are multiple times, but like, and I'm not gonna pick, well, you guys know I keep it real. We were playing the Panthers in Seattle, and I just will never forget their quarterback at the time coming off the sidelines and basically shit talking. And he probably wasn't directing it at us, but he was really, it very much felt like a little too close for comfort in terms of just like towing that line of just unsportsmanlike taunting. Like there is a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct. Darian pointed it out perfectly. Like this should have been something that was called. Like especially if it happened to multiple girls on the team, and especially because like you know there's something if you're just yelling something coming off the field. I'm gonna like try to act like a guy. I'm I'm thinking of all sorts of like mannerisms that people have when they score and like all of the things. But like there's just kind of like a layer to it where it's kind of crossing a line. And if you are yelling at somebody, that's a wrap. It's unsportsmanlike conduct. Like I just can't imagine in the big old AT&T Stadium with the big screen that's following the player after they score, with all the officials around, sideline personnel. Like who saw that? Was it on TV? You guys can let me know in the comments. I just can't believe that it went completely unnoticed, and I can't believe that it went completely unaddressed. Like, thank goodness, you know, Paige picked up on the TikTok video and wrote about it, and lots of news outlets picked up the story as well. But you know, once again, I know I've vented about this before. It's so convenient just to like reach out to teams and they just like don't have a comment. Like you don't have anything to say. You can't even simply say like we reviewed the tape and we would like to extend an apology. Maybe it's happening behind the scenes, but for each woman who was yelled at by a Green Bay Packers player, you deserve an apology. They deserve to be fined. And there should be absolutely a communication from the NFL that says you are not allowed under any circumstances whatsoever to approach any cheerleader with your antics throughout the game. Like it's just absolutely like not acceptable. Somebody has a comment. I'm going to read. Let's see. According to one of the ladies on her blog, she said they were yelling at them to go home. Why are you cheering? Really? Thank you for the intel on that. Go home. Why are you cheering? Yeah, that's very directed at the women, and that should absolutely have been addressed. Like they rewatch this stuff back. They even sometimes like do a replay to see when people score. Like somebody noticed that and did not do anything about that. And that really drives me up a wall. That's so petty. Hi, Kayla. It really is petty. It's petty and it's just like the Packers don't have any cheerleaders. You never even have anybody there to cheer for you in the first place. Like the Packers shocked me with like even getting as far into the playoffs as they did. They're gone now. We don't have to waste extra time on them. But like I just had to address it because it's just like we don't have to take that level of disrespect, period. And I don't know if, you know, it was communicated up the chain within the Dallas Cowboys organization, but somebody should be really advocating for this to be like, like addressed as a line that should not be crossed for any player as in a form of celebration, whatever it might be, to actually ever yell in the faces of the cheerleaders while they're on the field. Effing unacceptable. I just can't. I cannot. DCC Katiana was the one to mention it in her recent YouTube vlog. Okay, well, I got some more research to do. It's been crazy. I haven't had a chance to dig into it, but like how older, and you know, the NFL's changing. It's getting younger and younger. I don't know if this is what these kids do in college and they just come here, or I just don't even understand. Like it's a baseline disrespect of women in general that would allow you to think for 2 seconds that it's appropriate to yell in the face of female dancers that are on the side. I just can't compute in my mind whether you're passionate about the game, like no home training. Like there's so many levels of like just hell no that I can't even. No, not acceptable in high school or college. Like it should never even happen, right? Like ever. And then you're at the professional level on this like NFL playoff stage. Everybody's watching, and who saw like that's what I'm okay. I'm not gonna get over it. Who saw it and didn't say anything to the point where like days later, articles later, there's like no formal apology about it. Like somebody had to see that happen on the sidelines and just like it's just not okay to me that nothing was done to address it. I'm so glad. Um, I'm so late. Okay. Ooh, what I'm missing stuff. What? I'm sorry. Can you brief me on what happened? Long story short, y'all, for people who are joining, and thank you for joining. I'm talking about the situation during the Dallas Cowboys Green Bay Packers game during the NFL playoffs, where the Packers, after they were scoring touchdowns, particular athlete, I don't know who, and I hope some girl got into it in her vlog of who it was, specifically, but the players after scoring a touchdown would yell in the faces of the cheerleaders. Like they'd come off the sideline or wherever the hell, the end zone, and they would actually get up in their face and yell, like, why are you even here? What are you cheering for? Because it was a bad game. I mean, it wasn't a great game. You could talk shit, fine, but not in the manner that they did it. They were yelling this close to the girls' faces. One of the girls was on the verge of tears. Like, you just aren't, because our job while we're on the field is to hold ourselves with the ultimate, like, we're like, Disney princesses sometimes you're in your position on the sidelines, like you're maintaining your professionalism. You're not acting like you're at home on a couch watching a football game. And so it's so disrespectful and unprofessional. And the fact that that can go unchecked and unnoticed, like during the game itself, is beyond me. Like, how does that happen where the replays of the scoring, like I didn't see the I didn't see the whole entire game live and I didn't see any glimpse of that during the broadcast. But if y'all saw it on TV, I would love to know. But either way, it's been reported on. It happened. I'm so proud of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders even for speaking up about it because sometimes we have to like say for instance if you're at like a an appearance and somebody's disrespectful. There's so much that sometimes we just like deal with in a professional manner where we don't make a scene about it. We just kind of like quietly handle it. And it's not ideal, but it's just the professionalism that we wear in doing what we do. But I don't know how I would have really honestly handled that. Like, I mean, it's not like you can go chasing after the player and be like, what the heck do you say? You can't. But like, I would feel so violated and I would not be okay until I got an apology. Like that is personally a line of disrespect. Like you are like I can't. I should have prepared. I knew once I got to talking about it, I would get like all worked up where I couldn't even articulate like how it just blows my mind and it's just so disrespectful and I don't even know how the women held it together. Like being on the verge of tears, like I would have been pissed to tears, but like to not really be able to defend yourself and then feel like nobody's even going to do anything while you're sitting here getting verbally assaulted, like F that. Okay, people are commenting. I'm going to read. Also, honest question, was there no DCC staff present on that corner who witnessed it, who could have called security? I don't know exactly, or something. Like, so sad this happened to them. That's all I'm saying. We know the sidelines are crowded as F. You have photographers, you have officials, you have staff, you have the dance team or cheerleading squad staff. Like people are around. And so like who could witness this and just act like it's just a moment of passion for the player that they just get the pass to do that? And not okay. I'm gonna calm down. It's like it happened to me, but I'm really, really sorry that it happened to them. And I'm just happy that they spoke up about it because it's just absolutely not okay. The thing is, on the field, everyone needs to be a professional. You got that right. Like, that's the main thing. Once again, the women of the NFL being devalued, disgusted with this. You and me both. I think it's again, there may be things happening behind the scenes, but what I would have loved to have seen is for this to be escalated at the highest. Like the DCC seems to value their cheerleaders to a degree where they expect the utmost professionalism, world class excellence, all the standards that they have. And so I would hope that with the young women speaking up about this and how it made them feel and how they felt disrespected, they were disrespected. It's not like I feel like I was disrespected. I was. I would hope that them speaking up about this resulted in conversations with their leadership, their coaches, their director, who was just as incensed that this actually happened to their dancers. That resulted in further conversations up the chain, which resulted in owners reaching out to the NFL and having, like, I'm not trying to blow it up like it's just, to be sensational about it. I think it's just, this should never have happened in the first place. And there needs to be loud messaging that it's unacceptable and should never, under any circumstance, happen again. Like, I don't care what's at stake, Super Bowls, whatever. You don't do that. And did I even finish the story about the Panthers? The point is, like, I felt like it was towing the line, and it was kind of just like having this internal talk with myself, like, I can't do anything that takes me out of character, where I'm unprofessional, and the moment passes so quickly, so it's not like you can kind of chase it down and do something. But I didn't feel like I needed to go. I think I did mention it to my director in the locker room after the game, kind of like, because it was just one of those chippy games. There's like shit talking back and forth, and there's like a lot of things going on. But to have multiple girls experience them yelling in their face, it just makes my blood boil, and I'm not satisfied with the lack of a statement. The least that the stupid Packers organization, oh God, did I say that? The least that they could have done in the organization of the Green Bay Packers with the article coming out, don't act like you haven't heard about it, is issue an apology. I'm not satisfied that has not happened. And that was a few days ago. Actually, longer than that. It's just bare minimum, they should be issuing an apology. Maybe apologies are happening behind the scenes, but I have to talk about it on the podcast because I just could not believe that happened to them, and it's just unacceptable. We take a lot of shit and not so ideal situations. Like I said, we are thrown into, you name it, for public appearances, and we come across fans. Not all of them are amazing. You come across the opposing side's fans, and yeah, there might be some things that are said, but nobody should be outright disrespected in that manner. It's just like not okay, especially on the sidelines. Somebody saw it, nobody said anything. I'm extremely disgusted and disappointed, but not surprised. It's just like, what is the NFL, just like an abusive relationship or something where you're like, I love it, but then you hate it? I mean, it's like, okay, maybe that's TMI. I just think like I should expect more from the NFL. I just think that's something that you swoop in and you say, oh, absolutely not. You message the owners, you get the message out that is not the type of sportsmanlike conduct that you want to see. I think they do it all the time where they review certain situations that happen during the game. They issue a fine later, investigate, do something about it, and put some messaging out there that this is not to be tolerated or happen again. Because, okay, more comments. I'm going to read it. I'm still not over the fact that there's no footage of it either. The whole thing is so horrible. Yeah. I'm not convinced that, like, I know there's footage of that, what happened. Like, I know there is. I just feel like it's like something that was just so dismissively swept under the rug that it's just not even worth addressing. That's how the NFL always, I feel like, reacts to things that impact, like, us as cheerleaders. It's just like they don't even have to say anything. It's just like I'm not even going to deem it worthy of a response, and that literally drives me up a wall. So, like, I think every year around the Super Bowl, what you end up seeing is just a lot of interest taken in NFL cheerleaders. You see a lot of articles that are starting to be like pumped up about, I feel like they start watching us as cheerleaders just as much as in terms of newsworthiness, right? All of a sudden there's interest in a spotlight on cheerleaders, and I've just seen over time with the 5 years of this podcast, like seeing how whenever there's an issue that's brought to the surface, kind of anticipation of Super Bowl, it's often around our pay. We'll get into that later. Um, they just have no comment. They never have a comment. They never address it. They don't say anything. And this could have been dealt with swiftly, expeditiously, and efficiently. But why not publicly, and why not like just actually say something and do something about it? Like they publicize fines that go against the players for various, penalties and things that happen during games. Nothing would make me happier than the NFL to just say we looked into this incident that happened at the Dallas Cowboys game with X player went into the cheerleaders' faces and yelled and said derogatory things, whatever, whatever. This is unsportsmanlike conduct. It was not called during the game, but he has been fined X amount of dollars. How hard is that? There's definitely footage somewhere. Yes, couldn't agree more. We're all on the same page. I thank Paige Skinner for bringing it to light, because I know that the Darian's TikTok video, I think, got a lot of views. Went viral. So I'm glad again that she spoke up about it. I'll have to check out Katiana's blog as well. And just, I mean, it brings light to it. It's just not acceptable. I'm really sorry to the ladies that experienced that, especially. I mean, that's your game too. Like, and like if you, that should not be the way that you exit the playoffs, of having that kind of a nasty taste in your mouth. Like, who are they to be that disrespectful to you? It's just pisses me off. Okay, so I guess I'm ranting tonight. I'll drink and see if that makes me feel a little bit better. But thanks for everybody voicing support for these women. You should never have experienced it. I hope nobody jumps on this bandwagon, because I swear if these next few games, if people act out of pocket, I think we need to just get a little bit louder. Okay. Ooh, we got some more tea. Darian's twin sister mentioned there being more stories about DCC. After that needs to be told. Oh, wait, am I reading this right? Hold on. Sorry, guys. I got my top. It's kind of, but I think they'll have to wait until their retirement. Oh, just more stories that need to be told about their experience on the team. Everybody waits till they're retired. And I think we understand why. You're not worrying about not making it on the team the next year. You kind of feel like a little safer to say what the experience was like. And I wish there was that freedom of expression, while you're on the team. I try to fill in some gaps and talk shit for y'all when I can, or to bring issues to light when I can. But yeah, I can understand if she's needing to wait until retirement to possibly like say what the real deal is. And if you want to come here to share it, I'm doing interviews again. So come, and we can talk and just shed some light on things that just are not okay. So in that vein, the next little situation that I want to talk about is like I said, every year around Super Bowl, people will start talking about NFL cheerleaders, and what do they love to talk about? How much we're paid, and is it enough? And statistics, NFL, and NFL never does anything about it. And I'm not saying that facetiously. It's just, but here's the topic again of like, this kind of was triggered because the Kansas City Chiefs did a post just a couple days ago. I saw the post and I was like, oh, okay. But what they did was just a simple post with some music overlay where the girls are practicing while they're at work, which made me tickle. Like, I didn't even think it was going to like go viral like that. They apparently had 4 million views in 3 days. This article that basically showed the girls at work in their environment practicing because they have practice that night. And so you see a registered nurse like going over choreography in like some kind of break room area. You see a marketing account executive, a law student in the classroom holding the book and doing some dancing. You got a middle school English teacher, a civil engineer. You had a fashion buyer, a violence prevention and education coordinator. So they're all just going over choreography, like marketing in their head in their day job, right? And it brought back memories for me of doing the same dang thing at my various jobs. Like I would do it at the printer, like any would think, I mean, you're just going over choreography because you have practice. And it made me like get a little tickle because I definitely remember that. And people just got used to seeing me do that at work. But yes, that is how we function. We practice choreography while we're driving, we practice it while we're working, practice it around the house. Like, we're constantly dancing in some form. But this video took off because people in the comments were just like blown away that of the types of day jobs that they had, or the fact that they had to work a job because they're so poorly paid. And this is the narrative, right? Because they're so poorly paid by the NFL. And I think that this just gets really layered for me because there's, let's deal with the layers one by one after I take a sip. Okay. Let's just say that, you know, a lot of teams require you to have like a job, whether it be part-time, full-time, or be a student. There's always been this expectation that nobody's going to be trying to earn their living by becoming an NFL cheerleader. We all know this as like entering this space. Hopefully nobody was misled in thinking that you can live off of an NFL cheerleader hourly wage. But it's kind of like an unspoken thing that this is not your only gig in town if you want to pay bills and survive, right? That's layer one. Like, we aren't thinking of it as this should be something that I should be able to sustain myself on. On the other hand, you can definitely evaluate what that pay and compensation structure is like based on what you do and say that that's not enough freaking money. And to say that there's enough value in what you do that you should actually be able, as a professional dancer or cheerleader who's trained in this space and reached a professional level, to actually make a decent salary that you could potentially live off of. Right? The other piece of this is that, like, everybody had a life before NFL cheer, right? So if I went to school for engineering or fill in the blank and I'm doing this as something that you're not doing it to supplement your income. More than likely, that's not the primary purpose of which you're pursuing, like an NFL, you know, becoming an NFL cheerleader. It's not to supplement your income as a fill in the blank occupation. You're doing this for the love and passion for a skill set that you have, in addition to whatever that occupation is. And so I just think that people get it a little twisted that for somebody, it's not a matter of like they shouldn't have to work a day job. If you studied and mastered a craft and a career, like, that's your career. You're allowed to have both, I guess, is what I think missing in the comments. It's like they think that, you know, you shouldn't have to be an accountant in order to cheer in the NFL. Like, no, you want to be an accountant because that's what you trained in and studied in school to be able to do. So it's more like I should be able to have my career that I love and I put my time into. And I should also be able to get paid a decent salary for another career that I have on, which is being an NFL cheerleader. And I don't think it has to be like this one or the other. And I think people kind of get it twisted. It's not that. It is very true that you do need to supplement your income because you cannot live off of the NFL pay, but it's not something where it's like they had to go do it. I just don't like that connotation because it's like these are very accomplished men and women who are just the same way that they train and dance. They've actually invested in school and education so that they can have the careers that they have. So allow them to have both. Let's talk about both. Like, they should have both. Better pay in the NFL and the ability to have an amazing career doing all of these things on the side. Hold on. If TikTok dancers can make money, NFL/NBA dancers should definitely be equal or more. Exactly, because they're actually trained. It's just like they're both professional capacities, I guess, is what I want to try to emphasize. Like, the track to becoming an NFL cheerleader, NBA dancer, whatever, requires a lot of training and expertise to be able to audition for these teams, beat out hundreds and thousands of people to basically, well, maybe hundreds and thousands, hundreds, or maybe even up to thousands. Who knows what these audition numbers are looking like these days since they're virtual. But the fact that you're able to make it on this team and dance at this level should equate to a salary of a professional athlete. I'm just going to say that, and don't say that like, oh, it's too bad that they have to go have a job, because it kind of devalues like what they put into a career that they're very proud of. It's not like they're going to just stop dropping their careers like flies just because they want to. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just think it's getting a little skewed in the conversation with the comments. Not so much in the article that I shared. I wanted to share that because It's just a good discussion that we should always revisit around pay. And I'm just going to make my little plug because it's something that I do get reached out to quite a bit. I shared it out with you guys after I launched it, but a couple years ago, I did a compensation survey where you can voluntarily reach out to me and say, I cheer for X team or dance for X team, or leave the team out, give me the conference, I don't care. And just tell me what you're paid, tell me the compensation structure. I get paid $13 an hour for games appearances across the board, or I get paid, such and such per game, I get this much for appearances. Like, just break it down. And I loved when I did that. There were lots and lots of people who wrote in, and I tried to share the results back out with you guys. I try to keep them anonymized. But knowledge is power. And unless we start talking to each other about what we actually make, I mean, I think the conversation could grow from there of like, this should be the norm, like, no, it's not minimum wage. We are thinking, and I think I've asked you guys this even when I did the end of the like state of the industry survey, where you guys actually shared that you thought $30 an hour was reasonable, to actually compensate you for what you do, knowing it's not necessarily a full-time job or a job that maybe is salaried, but you thought $30 an hour was reasonable. Tell me what you guys are making. It's up to you. I think knowledge is power. And, when these conversations keep coming up about pay, again, without really a union, I mean, I'm going to tell what I think should happen, but again, I don't know that it would. But, the NFL directors get together for their annual meeting, and without it seeming like you're organizing or doing anything union-ish, if it's going to be that problematic, it's just kind of like, can we just openly share information about how we compensate our cheerleaders and dancers so that everybody kind of knows the baseline of what other teams are doing? There's only 24 of them with cheerleaders at this point. So can't they just all just share informally like how they structure it, so that teams can go back to their front office and say, you know what, I think it's kind of jacked up that we pay our dancers $12 an hour when you have this team within the same state or similar cost of living or whatever it might be that you build your case around, to say, I think we need to be paying our dancers X, or can we give them a raise? Can we restructure the way that we pay them? Like, to me, I think you need that knowledge to be able to do that. And I just encourage you guys, the compensation survey, I feel like is like a living document. You guys can write in and supplement that. And if I have an anonymized version that I have shared, again, it's kind of identified by conference. And we can just keep sharing information, and hopefully it'll mean something where every people can take that and ask for a raise, or just knowing as you're like looking at other markets to potentially dance in, you shouldn't be moving cross country to make it on a team and not realizing like that the pay is not enough to sustain yourself. And you guys know what it's like to get a job that's in your line of work, that's flexible enough for you to maintain the commitment of being on an NFL team. So there's just a lot of, let's just talk dollars and cents. Like, you gotta be able to live, right? And the spotlight is on. There's going to be some discussion probably leading up to the Super Bowl of NFL cheerleaders' pay. I just thought it was really interesting. I'd be in the comments sometimes, you guys, with some of these posts, and I used to go really hard with like commenting up a storm, not like picking fights with people, but I would really get up in there and just try to use it as an opportunity to educate people. There's, I can't compete with, millions of views and trying to get all up in the conversation in that manner. But I just think that there's definitely a mixed narrative. And I probably did a crappy job of trying to like explain why the nuances matter. But like, they should be able to sustain a professional career and also be paid well for what they do to represent their organizations. They're the most trained and talented dancers that are, again, selected out of hundreds of people, and they just need to be paid more. It's not really too complicated for me, but those are some of the hot little topics and news articles. I just want to say again, like, feel free to write me to share your team's pay. I can update it and share it back out with you guys and let you know some best practices. In the vein of best practices, the last thing I'll say is that I want to do kind of like an NFL season recap with some of the things that I've been paying attention to all season long and maybe not getting on live and talking about. Like, you guys know I love to go on some rants, but I also like acknowledging positive things in our space. And, I'm watching and I'm noticing. And so I think I need to share some observations and give some honors out to like the teams that are doing things well that I like. Um, Maybe I'll say things that I don't like. We'll see. It depends on when I go through and kind of take my notes. But I've been stockpiling some observations, and I think it's time to share them out as we approach the Super Bowl. So look forward to that for a cheer chat session. If you think that there's something that's noteworthy that you want to make sure that I mention or at least consider as I give those honors out, please shoot me a DM. So episodes are back, as you know. Please check out Break My Soul. I decided that I am going to record the episode about Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl. I was going to do it beforehand, but here's why. I'm going to change it up because I've done some research on the people who have been selected. We have all the Pro Bowl cheerleaders selected at this point. And I want to have my own observations of like seeing them in action. Like, I'm going to be making notes of different styles, like personality, interaction, anything I can glean from being there, because I will be there. I leave in a week, you guys. I'll be flying into Orlando on Wednesday, there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coming back Monday. But I'm hoping that, without stalking the Pro Bowl cheerleader, that I'll be able to see them in action enough to develop some, like, to have my own observations and takeaways. I want to give all 24 of them a moment to take them in while I'm at the game, whether I'm at the Disney Springs. They better do that. Like, I haven't seen a lot posted about what the fan engagement's going to be like, but they better not play a game. They better do that whole little thing that they do. I have old videos up on YouTube from being at Pro Bowl where they introduce the Pro Bowl cheerleaders one by one. They do all the dances. Like, that needs to happen. It better happen. And, but just seeing all of that stuff, I'll get a good vibe of each cheerleader, and I'll be at the game sitting in a space where I can watch each squad before me as they rotate throughout the stadium. So I'm going to have lots of notes and observations, and I feel like I'll do a much better episode if I can talk about each Pro Bowl cheerleader after I've seen them in action. So that will come the week, like kind of like right after Pro Bowl. And then it's time to talk Super Bowl. So, more to come. I think I have a comment that I missed. I'm so sorry. I know it's cheering/dancing or NFL, but semi-pro football doesn't pay players at all. Are you saying they don't pay their players or they don't pay their dancers? So the survey results from the one that I did, the compensation survey, I also had semi-pro people write in for semi-pro, hockey, and there it's really, really interesting. Like, we're talking, to your point, we're talking about NFL, NBA, and some of the semi-pro leagues. It's rough. Like, not paid for practices, minor amounts for games. Like, they're not sometimes the play. Yeah, it's a different world. They're like, uh, it's really unfortunate what I saw people writing in terms of the compensation structure for those semi-pro leagues. Yeah. And P.S. I'm so glad you said that because, with this whole XFL, USFL merger, I'm probably messing up the letters, but that's something else that I want to, this whole spring football business. Like, I don't know if all the teams have dancers, but I'm going to go poking around and see what's going on with that combined league to see if they're actually bringing in cheerleaders as part of the entertainment. And maybe they are posting about auditions at this point or any information about what they're paid, but it is definitely a different story. I see the queen of the day. Hi, Savannah. She just joined, you guys, so I'm geeking out. I'm wrapping up Cheer Chat, but I just wanted to let you know that there will be more to come. I, again, had an amazing conversation with Savannah. I think it is just such a worthy listen for everybody. I think she's breaking down barriers. She did not let this whole crazy pro cheer and dance world break her soul. I think we all have experienced our share of like rejection. We've all gone through our own thoughts around our bodies and our preparation, fitness, and otherwise. Hey, to make these teams. But I just think this conversation was just so important because there is just a fine line between, we all want to be the best version of ourselves. That's what we're striving for. I love that more and more people are addressing, audition prep with that in mind, right? Like, be the best version of yourself. You don't have to try to look like anybody else and be anybody else. But we also know the pressure, right? When we are trying to break into this space where you are, evaluating yourself in terms of like having whatever the look is, to be in this space. And I think there's a fine line between taking in constructive criticism that'll help you get there and also things that can be very soul crushing. I see it, and I know people just give up, they don't come back. The feedback that they get is just something that they can't really work with to try to take what they can and grow from it. But it's, when they're talking about your body, it's just a very, very, very personal and, what's the word I want to use? It's just a very, very personal, uh, I don't want to say journey. It's just, you internalize it in a way that's a little differently. Like if somebody critiques your dancing, you're like, okay, I get it. La, la, la. When they talk about your body and your body image, like it's like it hits different. It's not the same as just like taking that in and working with it and doing something with it and being able to present your best self without it like crushing your soul. So I just really encourage you to listen to this episode because we really got into it. Right, Savannah? Like we were kind of digging deep to really talk about what that looks like and how you show up for yourself and how important it is to have a great support system and people who are lifting you up as you find your way. And I couldn't be more proud of this young woman. I give the whole origin story of how Savannah came into my life in the first place, and to see her journey of just talking about the dream before it was even really like a finalized dream that she wanted to make a team, to seeing her lead a team as one of the captains for the Blazer Dancers, and 3 years in the game, changing norms and being an example for so many other people. Listen to her story. It's an amazing interview. And I'm back, y'all, doing freaking episodes. I would love to hear from others that you guys would like me to reach out to interview. I am not going to be trying to crawl up people's behind and go through all of these steps to try to like line up 10 interviews in a row. I'm just going to take it as it comes, be really gentle and graceful with myself because life be life and I got a job and all the things. But I'm very motivated and excited to talk to people that you guys have an interest in. So feel free to send me names. I'm happy to reach out. It's just like, if it works out, great. I'm not going to be like as like anal as I used to be about like trying to line everything up and everything has to go perfectly and just all of the stress. Like I'm just a one woman shop and I'm just going to try to use AI where I can. But I'm so happy to be back. And I thank Savannah for, I said there was one person that would pull me out of retirement, and it was you. And you did that. And it's such a good episode. So take a listen, you guys. I'm about to go listen to Homegirl's vlog because I want to hear what she said. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Enjoy the playoffs. These players better behave themselves and not be yelling in anybody else's face, or I'm going to go on a major rant. I love y'all, and I will talk to you next time, okay?